Hi, in this video we're going to look at a website called sAInaptic. Now, as you probably know, when it comes to revising, one of the best things that students can do is practice past paper questions. But the difficulty with that is it involves getting past papers, getting mark schemes. Maybe the students will answer one question and then check the answer in the mark scheme, in which case they may end up looking at the answer to the second question, which then spoils the second question when they go back to it because they already know the answer. Or maybe they will do a number of questions and then look at the mark scheme, and of course the problem then is they've forgotten what the question was about a little bit. So they're looking at the mark scheme and it's like, oh, what was that question? Oh right, yeah, I remember. So it's quite a time consuming thing. Plus, if the students are photocopying as well, it takes a lot of paper to photocopy. So this website solves that problem, and it solves it in a very clever way because it's also using the good old artificial intelligence. So logging onto the website, I'm going to look at this as a student view. Okay, if the school upgrades and buys the full package, then teachers can set questions for students, and the teachers can then set them as a test where the students don't see the answers, or the teacher can set the questions as just a revision resource. So the students will see the question, answer the question, and then get the actual answer to the question brought up to them straight away. We're going to look at this as a revision resource. So logging onto the site, what I do first of all is I will put into my profile what the school is that I'm at, my name, and then I'll also identify what the exam boards are, whether I'm doing AQA for example, or Edexcel, IGCSE, Excel, etc. And I will also put down whether I'm doing separate sciences or combined, and whether I'm doing a foundation or higher paper. And I'll do that for biology, chemistry and physics. Now, the software won't let you go on until you've completed all these, and then once you've completed them, it will then allow you to go and do some revision. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a biology, a chemistry and a physics question. Now, I am a science teacher, so I should know the answers, but I'm going to purposely get them wrong. That's not just because I'm on the video and I don't want to make a mistake, and I don't want to admit I've made a mistake, but I need to get some questions wrong because I want you to see what you actually get, what feedback you get when you get a question wrong. So if we click onto cell biology, what we're going to do is we're going to look at transporting cells. So we've got a 3-mark question here. How the small intestine is adapted for efficient absorption of glucose via diffusion. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I know I need to do something and answer a question that gives me the 3 marks. So I'm going to say first of all that we have a large surface area. Okay, and then I'm going to also include the fact that there is a small membrane. So it's not really the right answer, but it's sort of possibly, because we're looking at thin membrane, it's possibly it will accept it, we'll see. And then I'm going to also add that there is a large distance for diffusion, which is clearly the wrong answer. So let's see what sAInaptic says for us. We're going to check the answer now, and it says to us, there we are, we've got 1 mark out of 3. It has a large surface area, but it also tells me what else I could say. It's got a large blood supply, which it has, because the large blood supply ensures that there's a diffusion gradient there. And also it has a folded villus, which is 1 cell thick. The folded villus again gives a large surface area, but the 1 cell thick means that it's not a large distance for diffusion, it's a short distance for diffusion. So it tells me straight away, yeah, you've got 1 right, but this is what you should have put as well. No photocopying, no checking pieces of paper, etc. So a nice way to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my subjects, and I'm going to have a little bit of chemistry look, and it's going to be the same sort of thing. So let's have a look at bonding, and let's have a look at ionic and covalent bonding. So again, 3-mark question, and it's giving me a lot of 3-mark questions because I identified it as me as a student who is doing the higher paper. So how reacting white magnesium atoms and chlorine atoms forms magnesium ions and chloride ions. So how are we getting these ions formed? So magnesium loses some electrons and chlorine gains some electrons. Now I purposely made it a little bit vague again. Let's just see what it says as an answer. So check the answer. I've got 2 out of 3. So there we are. Electrons are transferred, move between the atoms, which is what I've said, and they're transferred from magnesium to chlorine as well. Okay, and I could have said that magnesium loses 2 electrons because it's group 2, and chlorine being group 7, each chlorine atom will gain 1 electron to form a chlorine ion. Okay, so again, it's made it very, very easy for me to try the question, give an idea, think about what I'm answering, but then it allows me to compare that to the actual answer. Let's pop into physics, do a quick physics question. And on this one, let's do something on energy. So let's look at conservation, dissipation of energy. So there we are, we've got a vacuum flask. I haven't seen any of these questions before we start, by the way. I've not looked at all these questions, so they're all new to me as well, just like they will be to a student. So imagine the image below shows the internal design of a flask. Explain. Little bit there, little information, explain, say how or why something happens. So it's giving the students a little bit of a support with these command words. What does explain mean? If they're not sure, common mistake, they will tend to just describe what's happening rather than explaining it. So we know we've got to explain, we know we've got to provide that extra detail. So how the plastic cup of the vacuum flask helps to keep the liquid hot inside. Diagram there, there's my plastic cap in my flask. So how does the cap keep it warm? So I'm going to answer this as if I really don't know the answer. So I'm going to put the silver of the flask reflects the heat back into the flask. Okay, and maybe I'll put something about the plastic cap as well. The plastic cap is a nice colour. There we are. And let's see what happens with this one. Oops, so there we are, 0 out of 2. Not surprising really. I didn't include any of the required concepts, and there we are. Plastic is a poor conductor, or as an insulator, stops the heat transfer by convection, or it stops energy transfer by evaporation, as the particles evaporating from the liquid cannot move into the air, or reduces energy transfer by conduction. Okay, so again, student didn't know at all what to say, but there we are, the students answered that question, and then the student then knows what they should have done. Lots and lots of questions on here, all linked to the specifications, and an excellent way for the students to just go on and just practice. It takes away the pressure, it takes away all the pain of having lots of pieces of paper, doing lots of questions, and then trying to compare the questions to the answer. It's one by one and allows you to do that practice. A lot of practice, exam practice, very short period of time, very, very easy to do. That is sAInaptic. Thank you very much for watching.